I see a black page. Oh, there it is.
You're going.
I see it.
You're talking.
Welcome to another edition of Race Talk Live. Bobby Potts and Bill Gritt and Bobby put together another fantastic show tonight.
Yeah, we got Chris Kratzer came from. You actually live in Hayesville?
Hayesville, yep.
In Hayesville, okay.
Yep.
Made
South
the
of
trip,
Wichita, basically.
Made the trip up, so thanks for coming, by the way.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. Been a while since I've been up here.
Yeah, it has been. Where were we last? Were we at, Chuck's? Bar?
Chuck's, and then you were at some kind of a warehouse type place or something one time. Been a while. Chuck's, came up with Jay Neal and Delbert Smith one time, and
on the TV thing.
Yeah,
TV.
that was in that. That was in the old warehouse type.
Yeah, that's
the city's trying to figure out what they're doing with it. I voted for indoor tennis courts.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Tennis courts are a real bitch around here because they took our demo derby place and turned it into tennis courts.
Between that and pickleball seems to be popular.
You play pickleball?
I have. I love it.
Really?
I love it.
You go play all the time?
No, I don't
right
play all
here.
the time, but I do like to play.
Really?
Not quite as big as a tennis court, so I can get around a little easier.
So you don't have to run so much?
Yeah, exactly.
I've watched them play pickleball, but I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Good
Hey,
time.
let's get this stuff out of the way, and then we can get to going on the fun stuff.
Okay.
We got Kansas Auto Racing Museum, located there in Chapman. I'm sure Chris has probably got some stuff in there.
I've been there.
Yep.
Neat place.
Good,
Yep.
pretty neat place. But yeah, their business hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. $5 for adults. Kids are $3, and 6 and under are free. And of course, we got Salina Speedway. Been having some great racing going on there whenever it don't rain. We've been rained out 3 weeks in a row.
Saw that.
That sucks.
Terrible.
So anyway, maybe this Friday we'll get to go again. But then we got Mean Dean Productions. Dean does a great job for us, getting things set up and making us look good. Of course, the district play, Eat and Play. For having us here. Got to thank them. Pretty cool place. Got a lot of stuff going on.
This is a cool place.
Very neat.
It really is. I like it. We also have Belleville High Banks Hall of Fame and National Midget Auto Racing Museum. I see why I get this one all the time, because that's a mouthful to spit out. Summer hours are still Tuesday to Sunday, 10 to 5. The location is technically 1204 H Street in Belleville, Kansas. Take Highway 81 to see the signs right there on the east side of the highway. Entries by free will donation. They are the local authorized Nance Raceway dealer. Of course, Jay Neal, BSB Manufacturing, 20 North Industrial Drive in Wellington, Kansas, 620-326-3152. 620-326-3152. If you want to go fast, give Jay a call. He's got the most complete, up-to-date package available. Hill Job Graphics. 785-822-4536. 785-822-4536. Signs and banners, demo numbers. 6924 East Highway K4. He's got a big sign out there now. You can peel right off in there and go on down and see Mike, and he'll get you hooked up. Again, he did Mean Dean's trailer. Did a good job there.
Does a good job.
I'm wearing the black one tonight so that we're not same color. Yeah. Not that that's a bad thing, but Bill Gritt's Kimball Midwest. For all your maintenance, repair, and operation needs, give me a call. I've got the best penetrating oil on the market. It's provable, demonstratable. Concordia Raceway, 615 Industrial Road, Concordia, Kansas. Quarter-mile egg-shaped dirt track. We like to call it the Great American Short Track. So,
Is that
east
it?
side of Concordia at the fairgrounds. Yeah, that's it. I got it.
So far, we got Greg Freeman, Chuck Fairchild's watching, Branston Ardner. Hey, Bill Gritt's watching.
Yes, I am.
Fat Matt's on.
Fat man.
Casey Mullins, Rick Rogers.
I'm watching.
Yeah.
Branston's as well. Buddy, Jesper.
Bobby's reading.
Watching
I don't know that Bobby can read and talk at the same time.
Branston must be watching the stock car race with. No?
Yeah. Big race up there.
Yeah.
You want me to do the results from Concordia real quick? Get those done?
Sure, might as well.
Since somebody was so graciously wrote them
You
out.
better do that.
Yeah. Mini Stocks, Jason Simmons, a great race. That was a good one. Sport Compacts, Kaylee Richards, and her mom joined her in that race. I told you about that earlier. Hobby Stocks was Nicholas Ronenbaum. Sport Mods was Cale Smith. Stock Cars was Scott Smith, Smith boys, mom and brother and dad and son. Dad and son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then that brings us to the points champions. In the mini stocks was Billy Lukey. We ought to get Billy on the show. What do you think? Sport Compacts was Kaylee Richards. Hobby Stocks was Nicholas Ronenbaum. Sport Mods was Steven Swarthout. He got involved in an accident mid-race, and I didn't know that he was going to get to keep going because it was kind of an ugly little accident.
Uh-oh.
But, yeah, and then Stock Cars was Scott Smith. Congratulations to all them. This sheet says the awards bank, it's December 7th. I'm not 100% sure on that date.
That's what it says on the schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I got that from.
Okay, you did good. I didn't see the schedule tonight.
Okay. So anyway, Chris, how's your summer been going?
Yeah.
It's been hot here lately.
Yeah,
I
it
can
has
tell you
been
that.
hot. Been doing much racing?
Been doing a lot of racing, staying busy. Been racing. Started out racing some USMTS races. Raced a lot of the Heartland Modified Touring races. Some USRA 81 Speedway Humboldt. Just about wherever I can find a race.
That Heartland thing, Eric and Trent
Berry, yes.
got that started.
Yeah.
I think it's going over pretty well, isn't it?
It's going very well.
Yep.
A lot. It's pretty much a USMTS show every
Right.
night. It's tough.
I know we're looking forward to you guys coming to Salina here in a couple weeks.
It's going to be a lot of fast cars. I promise you that.
While we're on that subject, I'm supposed to announce that we're also running the antique cars, the KAR
Kansas Antique Racers.
Yep, they're going to be there along with Hobby Stocks, which is going to pay $750 to win for the Hobby Stocks, and then the purse is going to be adjusted. It'll be more money than normal, so we got to get that figured out yet. But I think that'll be a good show. I think you guys are going to bring a lot of cars.
I would expect at least 30. I don't know. I mean, we've had up to 50. Yeah, it's tough. It's real tough. A lot of fast cars. Tyler Wolf from Arkansas. I think he's leading the points. He'll be up here.
Right. Yep.
Of course, Chad Wheeler builds the racing simulators. Wheeler Metals.
Yep.
He's up there in the points. He'll be here. So there's going to be a lot of fast cars.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of fast cars.
Like we were talking, if we can keep Mother Nature away, she's spoiled our show 3 weeks in a row now.
Well, she's got hers out of the way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's time for some
I hope so.
hot, dry weather, right?
It's fine. Yeah, it's August. Come on.
That's right.
Yep.
She's had her go at it.
Yeah. I was watching on my race pass last night. Your buddy Ryan Dustin's up in a stock car.
Yes, he is.
That big 100,000 to win.
Yeah, I saw
stock
him.
car race
Ricky
in
Thornton
Iowa.
Jr. and a couple of big names up there. And
Yep.
Ryan was good last
He
night.
qualified 3rd or 4th in his group, I believe.
Yeah,
Yep.
he was fastest in hot laps, and that's a big deal. What, they have 300 cars? I mean, it's
190,
huge. 190 something, yeah.
Stock cars, yeah.
That's huge.
That's huge.
And then the late models come in Friday and Saturday, I believe, to
yes, they do.
run with them also. So, man, they got they're paying out a lot of money for that for
That's
this
a lot
weekend.
of money. Yeah. He's catching them, though, right there, and then they go on to Eldora, so I think he'll have a good late model car count, too.
So Chris, you're in a modified. Did you sell all your late model stuff, or you still have it?
No, I still have one late model. My good Clements engine has been at Clements for over a year. I'm kind of at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to getting my stuff fixed because I'm not a touring guy.
Yeah, I know.
So
That's got to be hard.
It does,
Yeah.
and I've got a lot of these late model series now. You can kind of run an open engine, choke it down. You can run a crate, or you can run like what we run in our modified, a USMTS, like a 410 steel block aluminum head engine. So I'm considering I've got an extra one of those I might put in the late model, and because I miss the late model.
I was going to ask you, do you miss it?
Oh, yeah. They drive, they steer so well.
The big fat tires.
Big fat tires. You get these modifieds, and you're like, man.
Where'd the traction go?
Yeah. But they're fun
horsepower,
too.
where'd it go? They're a handful, though.
They are, and they got so much power for the tire that you have.
Yep.
It's hard tire and narrow, and I tell you, if you can, you give them guys that shoe those modifieds could, get in the late model and do real well. And we see that a lot.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Long time ago, I tried to drive a modified, and I sucked really bad.
They're tough.
They're tough to drive.
tough.
That little 8-inch tire, and that,
you got a steering gearbox,
But you're on a different tire you're on an American Racer, aren't you?
Yes, we are on the American Racer. A little softer probably than like the G60, the Hoosier G60, which you probably IMCA runs.
Yeah, they're softer than that, aren't they? I think they're a real rubber tire. Yeah. I better be careful. Dave could be watching again. And I'm not picking on IMCA by any means, but it's a hockey puck.
They are hard. Those G60s are very hard, and American Racers, in my opinion, are a little softer, probably a little more traction, but still not what we're used to having.
So you've been at this a long time. I can't remember when you started. We'll get to that here again. What do you like, Chris? Like a heavy tacky track, or do you like a little bit of a dry slick track?
I like a little bit in between. I like it when there's like a top and there's some traction. Maybe then there's something around the bottom.
So you're not afraid to go up top either?
I've had to learn not to be, Ryan Gustin always tells me, if you're up there closer to the wall, you won't hit it as hard.
It doesn't hurt as bad.
That's
as
right.
what they tell me.
Right there.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know about that.
So that's been a little bit of a learning curve for me. But no, and slick is good too. It kind of puts the driver back into it. So
I think as my career has evolved into an announcer, so to speak now, I think the heavy tracks give us a little more accidents.
They do. Everybody's on the hammer, and it gives you a little more. Everybody of speed, but everybody's going the same speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's about right.
So your dad raced how many years ago?
Oh gosh, I was probably in the mid 70s, I would say. Yeah,
Okay.
mid 70s. Raced with Bobby's dad.
Yep.
And Sam Brittendahl and all them, and until probably the mid 80s, I'd say.
Okay.
Yep.
And then when did you get started?
I got started in about 94, 95, probably.
Okay. What'd you start at? Did you jump right into a late model?
No, I started in the Thumper class back then, which was, has a kind of a stock Camaro with a Camaro body and like a street tire.
Were those fun?
They were fun. But I learned in that and really enjoyed it. And then I did skip from that to the late model. So
there ain't nothing better.
No, there's not much better than that.
I mean, there's sprint car guys out there that'll argue with me, but there ain't nothing better.
No, there's not. That's my favorite by far.
So, where'd you get your number? We'll get this out of the way.
My dad was 55 plus.
That's right.
So I just took the plus off. It was 55.
Okay.
Yep.
But then you got 19 on your modified.
Yep, got 19 because Ryan. I was switching back and forth. So when Ryan would drive it, actually he would drive it with the 55, and then one time he said, "Man, we haven't had very good luck with 55. Let's change it to the 19R." Yep. So we did that because I was changing door panels and stuff, and I tell you, the older I get, the more work it is. So I'm like, let's just leave it at 1 and go with it.
They're a lot of work.
They are a lot of work.
Yep.
So. And you're really deep into the late model world. I mean, you're well connected there. I mean, talking about a Clemens engine and you've driven some Barry White race cars. You still have those, or what are you running for a late model?
Yep, I have a 18 Icon still. Late models kind of been my thing growing up and racing and got a lot of friends that do it, so I've been connected to the late model world probably more than anything else. So that's still my favorite.
And before we move on too far, Bob, you can interrupt me at any time. Haven't you won a track championship or two?
In the late model, yeah. Won the NCRA late model championship.
That's right.
3 or 4 times in the Hutch Nationals. And we didn't really have much track championships, so to say, because we were more like the NCRA.
NCRA, you're traveling.
Yep.
Is that harder for a guy to travel that much? Get a track figured out, make the adjustments, or you got to be on your game, or what?
It is, especially tracks you haven't been to, but I do feel like it definitely makes you a better race car driver because you're just not going to the same place, in the same racetrack, same conditions. You may go somewhere that's a quarter mile, and then you may go to the half mile, and, different size racetracks, different dirt track surfaces. So I'd say it makes you a little better rounded racer.
Probably your biggest win is probably the Hutch Nationals in the late model, I would guess, isn't it?
Yep, probably the Hutch Nationals is my biggest win. My first NCRA feature I won at Salina was pretty big in my memory, because back then I had to pass Delbert Smith and Tony Gregg, and Tony Gregg was really fast back then. So that was
Steve. How are you? Yeah, Tony Gregg was tough.
Yes, he was tough.
We were in a late model race together. I was at the back, of course. Down in Wichita, that TV show. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And Tony Gregg we were in the transfer. Tony Gregg came around me and somebody drilled him in the side of his car. Not me, it was a car in front of me. But we were all in position to transfer into the feature that night until that happened. Tony's fast.
Tony was fast. He had that old
God, he was fast.
Rayburn arm race. That thing was
and then his kid took off after him, and Justin.
Yeah.
Well, shit, Kratzer's fast. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I miss those NCRA days. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Times change. I guess.
Times have changed. What do you think? What do you think the late model series around here? What's the best one to participate in? Or
that's a good question. I still think if there was a series, within Kansas, maybe get in Nebraska a little bit, not within 200-300 miles, you could still. Of course, nowadays, NCRA used to pay $2,300 to start.
Yep.
At their normal shows. I think now you need about a $3,000 to $4,000 to win, $300 or $400 to start. But I think if they could all come together on a rule package, it would blow up again.
That's what's hard.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
And I mean, I don't know. Do you think the crate has a place?
I used to think it does, but today I'm not so sure it does anymore, to be honest with you. It's kind of you don't hear the whole crate deal like you used to.
No,
it's kind of
run its course.
It's kind of run its course.
It does.
And now they always say racing evolves. Everything kind of goes and comes back.
Right.
And I think now, you could have more like a 18-degree aluminum engine or something that you can get fairly reasonable. That is you can get parts for and everything, popular and not near as expensive as the wide bore 10-degree stuff that they have now.
And I think the parts are so much better now that the longevity of a decent engine is a lot longer now than what it used to be too. I mean, that makes a difference.
And I hate to talk about racing and pricing with racing or dollars with you can only go as fast as you spend.
That's correct.
As much as you spend, you know what I mean? But I think the crate I think the price of the crate is just astronomical now. It used to be pretty reasonable. You used to be able to pick a 604 up for about $5,000.
Yeah, now I've heard they're $8,000 or $9,000 new, and I don't know, but I know some people are kind of getting into the 525s crates, but it's not that. The 525. The problem is now you have to have a crate. You have to have a different, different pulleys, different headers, all the add-ons.
With the 525, the last time I looked into it, you had to have an onboard computer kind of a system to make it run.
You tune them with
the computer
programs. Yeah, so you have a laptop you'd hook up to it. That's correct. Yeah. So I don't know. Or maybe even a steel block aluminum head like used to be, or something that's like what we run in USMTS, that type of engine. If they
You think there's a package available to bring this thing around?
I do. I really do.
There ain't nothing better than late model. I'm telling you the truth.
Nope. I agree.
Go
Real
ahead,
quick,
Bobby.
I just wanted to say hi to some of the people that have gotten on.
You got to read Rick Rogers' comment when you get a second there.
Okay. Buddy Steve Foster's watching.
Oh my gosh, Steve! Yeah.
You raced with him a time or
A
two.
lot. Yeah, I like Steve.
Martin Griffith Jr.'s watching. Rick Rogers, I'd like to say. Of course, Branston. Jerry Hill's watching. Marty Barth's watching.
Hey, Marty.
Nick Watts. So, yeah, thanks everybody.
My buddy Eddie Martinez is watching. That's good.
So, I guess let's get into the kind of the sad part of the show.
Oh boy.
We lost a racer here. It's been a week or so ago.
A week ago Friday.
Is that when it was? Scott Bloomquist passed away, and I know you were pretty good friends with him. Went racing with him a lot. I'm sure I kind of brought you up here to tell some stories because I know you probably got some good ones.
The first time I saw that, I couldn't believe it. I didn't think Scott would ever die. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, he's been through a lot. And then to crash his plane like that, it's got to be awful.
It was devastating. Of course, he's got an 18-year-old daughter,
Sure,
Ariel, and mom and dad, and it was just devastating news.
Did it happen right there on his property also?
Right there.
That's
right there.
That's why I heard that.
That's even worse.
Right there. It was devastating. I was racing a 3-day show in Missouri with the Heartland Series, and I left early in the morning to get to the racetrack, and about 7:30 in the morning, my phone started blowing up, and I said the same thing. I was like, you see a lot of that fake stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's fake. I was like, well, no, Scott didn't die. Ain't no way.
I thought people were asking me. I was like, I don't know, but I'll find out. And I made a couple calls to real close people to Scott, and unfortunately it was. And it was a tough weekend for me. I was just devastated. And but the good thing is I do have a lot of memories with Scott, a lot of funny, good stories, and the guy was just, he was just like, just bigger than life, like just a 20-foot legend. He was just an awesome guy, and a lot of things people didn't know about Scott. He was very kind, loved kids, and it was tough. It was real tough.
What's your favorite Bloomquist story?
I'll tell you my favorite. Well, I've got a lot of good ones, but probably my favorite one. We were in, I think it was about 1999. I was helping him at the Topless 100 in Batesville, Arkansas.
Okay.
We stayed there. He had a bus back then, but we also got a hotel. Well, we stayed at the hotel, and we got up in the morning and Scott, let's go to the pool. Well, a lot of race fans there. So we went out in the pool, and Scott had this gold necklace with the 18 diamonds in it. And we walked out to the pool. Of course, all the kids were like, that's Scott Bloomquist, Dad. They're like, leave him alone. They're playing football, and Scott's like, no. And he got in the pool and played catch with them with the football. And we went out, and I remember we led every lap, 100 laps. He led every one of them from start to finish. It was a Saturday night, and I think most of Arkansas is like dry county, or dry, no beer, alcohol sales. Right. So, if you know the name Mooney Star, he promoted Batesville.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Well, he had a private club where you had to be a member, but you could go and go out there. So he invited us to his club. And I remember it was myself, Eddie Martinez, Scott Bloomquist. Scott's wasn't then his wife, Katrina, which later became his wife, his girlfriend. Dan Sleeper that used to race. Mm-hmm. Dan's crew guy. I think we had 8 of us in my green dually, probably. And I think Scott was driving my dually. So he said, oh, let's go out to Mooney's place, And, of course, a lot of racers. So we drive out there, and there's about 8 conversations, people yapping. And just jammed in there. We pull up there, and we walk up to the door, and you had to ring a doorbell. And our whole group walks up there, and we ring the doorbell. This lady comes to the door, and we're like, hello, coming in, And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. We are over capacity. No more people can come in.
Oh, God.
I turn around and say, Scott, they're full. We can't go in. He comes up there, he's taller than everybody else.
Yeah.
He's like, he goes, ma'am, you go tell Mooney Star that the Bloomquist party has arrived. And buddy, we got right in.
You got it.
We got right in. So that was. I always remember that. It was just it was a classic story. But there's so many.
I think the last time
stories.
I got to see him race was actually at Belleville,
Yep.
and you were helping him
Yep.
up there. What did he think of Belleville?
He'd been to Belleville before. I'd been up there with him probably in around early 2000s. So
When the World of Outlaw late
Yeah.
model deal, and then the last one was
that was the XR. XR.
Yeah, that's right.
XR. So that weekend, Scott, Scott liked to gamble. Everybody knows that. But anyways, I had been racing up there in the modified that week, like a few days before that. I think they started on like a Sunday maybe. Anyways, I had my motorhome and my trailer and my car up there. Well, he decided he wanted to go to the casino. So he rode home with me in my motorhome. We went to Love's, got diesel. I got pictures of him washing my windshield on my motorhome. So he rides back home with me, and we get 2 in the morning, probably get back to Wichita. And at this time, my Barry Wright's sitting there in my shop, and he walks in there. He walks right over to it, looks around, and says, "Too much anti-dive in the right front." And I was just like, okay. Yeah. So he's so smart though. I mean, just brilliant.
Like he could walk up and look at something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just
isn't
a
it?
brilliant
Didn't
mind.
see it.
I mean, he was, you guys probably know this, but a lot of the rules today in late models were because of Scott.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He was involved with
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Did he actually? Did they get to build very many of his cars and
yeah,
his design? Did they build quite a few?
they did. When he first started building, you had to buy 2 of them, and you had to sign a contract that you would, if you couldn't sell them to anybody else or sell, he got them back, and you had to buy 2, and they were pretty expensive. I remember he sold one to Lance Landers, who Mark Martin is a very good friend with, and Mark and Lance came to his shop.
Right.
But yes, they did build quite a few. And the thing about those cars is they're built so well that some of these rockets and stuff, they're a year or 2, they're kind
They're done.
of fleshed, they're flexed out.
Yeah, they flexed way too much.
Scott's cars.
Could you imagine?
A long time.
Could you imagine Bloomquist and Martin standing shoulder to shoulder? They wouldn't touch.
So funny story. I was at the Heartland Series where the Phillips Memorial, Larry Phillips Memorial. Mark Martin was there and
Was he?
spoke at the drivers' meeting.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty neat.
Wow.
And he is little. You're right. He's shorter than I am. But I got to travel a lot with Scott. One time we went to his shop in Tennessee, and we were headed to West Virginia, and he'd been working on the car all night because that's how Scott was. He would put a nose on and take it off 3 times to move something 1/4 of an inch,
Oh my
and we're
gosh.
like, Scott, we gotta go. and anyways, he loaded the car. I went and slept, and when we left, he's like, okay. He handed me his phone and put the track in there and said, get us there. And he went back and laid in the truck, and I drove, followed the GPS. We stopped once for, it feels like 6 hours. Well, we get about 5 miles to the racetrack, and I don't know if your GPSs have ever done this, but it may give you the most direct route, but it ain't the best route.
Yeah. Been that way.
Yeah, so it says turn right here. Well, I turned right here, and in about 100 feet, the road gets not even wide enough for the truck. And I'm like, uh-oh.
You weren't going to Stewart, Iowa, were you?
No,
That happened to us.
Yeah.
We were on a dirt road, yeah.
I guess there's a trucker's route you can
Oh.
make. But anyways, I about it curved real sharp. I stopped by Scott.
Oh, geez.
This thing's we're in trouble. So he gets up. Oh, let me see if I can get us out of here. We had to go literally borrow a chainsaw from a guy that lived down there to cut a tree down because the trailer was up against the tree. It wouldn't turn.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
So we get past that obstacle, and then we get up there to where the road, you kind of had to take a 130 degree turn back on a slant. We got the trailer high centered. So had to wait on one of those big, huge wreckers. Anyways, we were late for the race, but I figured he'd just be storming mad. But he's like, not your fault. That's the way the road took you. But just a lot of good memories with that guy. You know, it's just terrible.
So with you running around with Scott and then also running around with Ryan Gustin, are they anything alike?
They are.
Really?
So I introduced those two. Ryan called me one time and said, "Hey, we're in Tennessee. We got like a week before we race. Do you think Scott would care if we worked at his shop?" I'm like, I don't know about that. Scott's pretty weird about that stuff. Oh yeah, you don't want anybody looking at stuff.
Yeah.
But I introduced Scott and Ryan. They hit it off pretty good. They've raced modifieds against each other, some big races. So I called Scott. He's like, "You tell him come on over."
Really?
He said, "But why don't you come down here too? You haven't been to my shop in a few years, so I will." So I drove down there, and that was the weekend that Scott and I left from the shop to go to that race. But I'd say the old Scott and Ryan, the way he is now, drove a lot alike. Ryan's pretty up on the wheel, up on the top, running the fence over. But Scott's was more methodical, and let's last 100 laps, let's not tear our spoiler off, that type of thing. But they, I'd say they're a lot alike. Ryan took it pretty hard as well. It was tough.
And this cracks me up. So you, being in the racing, got to know Scott Lindquist and Ryan Gustin, which are famous people. So I sit at home and watch TV. I'll turn on the Kansas City Chiefs game, I'll turn on K-State football, and I'll turn on K-State basketball. And I always see Chris Kratzer in the camera somewhere.
Yeah. How does he do
it? How does that happen?
Well, that must just be luck. But
You had a friend that was a highway patrolman at one time, Greg, wasn't it?
Greg Hartgrader, yeah.
He'd get you down on the field at K-State. I'm like, how do you do that?
Get the sideline passes. And, of course, I'm a big K-State fan, but that still, it doesn't compare to racing, it's fun, but that racing's just...
So, what would it take? What would it take to make Scott angry? Somebody running over him, tearing up his stuff, or what?
That would really make him angry if somebody came over and looked underneath his race car.
Oh, really?
Oh, he'd drag them out by their feet, I think.
Speaking of that cracked me up at the Dome when he had great big plastic or cardboard or something circles that he would bolt on the hubs to cover up the...
Oh, yeah, the wheel covers?
Yeah.
With the circles in them?
Yeah, they were huge. Yeah, you'd bolt them on to keep that covered up so you couldn't see. But
he did not like that. He didn't like... They like people telling his secret, or something. Yeah. Somebody that had worked for him, and would go tell somebody something that would make him mad.
Well, when you work as hard as he did, to figure it out, and then, it's yours.
Well, and that's the thing with Scott. That's all he did was race, and that's all he thought about every day, all day.
That was his job.
That was his job, and people would say, "Well, he's standoffish. He parks over there by himself." And he told me, he's like, "Chris, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money."
I went to a Billy Moyer racing school, late model school one time, and he said, do not come and talk to me at the racetrack. Afterwards, checker flag's done and we're done, I'll chat with you all you want. Do not come to me in the pits or while I'm working on my stuff.
Right, getting ready to go out for the race.
Yeah, he says that's not the time.
That's not the time.
And those guys are focused.
And you can't blame them for that.
No, it's not. That's not negative. Those guys are focused on what they have to do. It's their job. Well, you're just as focused at the racetrack, really.
And I mean, that's like they said, that's how they make their living.
Yes.
I mean, they're putting food on the table for their family, and
It's still fun, but it's their job.
Absolutely, it's their job. But you're right. After the races, they forget about it. For a while.
Don't come look at our car.
Yeah, don't come look at our car, but
we'll chat with you all you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it was. That's their job, and they all took it seriously, which they have to. You know, it's a tough sport.
Well, I mean, Chris, even dirt track stuff. At this level, it's tough.
It's tough.
You have to maintain your stuff. I think you're one of the best at maintaining your stuff.
Well,
and there's good guys out there that maintain your stuff. Would you agree? Races are won in the shop.
100%. Yep, I see it. I see a lot of guys that struggle, and they may come out to the racetrack and they may have left their car in the trailer all week, maybe not even ground the tires or washed it or whatever, and then they wonder, why am I struggling? Well, you got to put the work in. And I think that's in every class.
Yeah.
Every class, maybe different levels.
Commitment, but yeah. I don't think you can put your car in the trailer and then drag it. I'm sure there's people that do, but
Mike Truskowski.
He's an anomaly.
I know.
He leaves his car in the weeds for 15 years and then, let's go race that thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you might get by with it, for a little bit, but it's going to catch you, I think, there's a lot to it these days.
Did you ever get a race against Scott?
I did. So another kind of cool story. I met Scott in the mid-'90s at Eagle, Nebraska.
Okay.
And like you said, we waited till after the races. Eddie Martinez was with me, and he used to go racing with me back then. We walked up to Scott and talked to him, and he was just nice as can be. We were all intimidated, thinking, oh gosh, he's going to bite your head off if you say hi. But he didn't, and we talked to him had a few drinks, talked to him for hours, ended up getting his phone number. He said, why don't you come up to this race? And I don't remember where it was. I have a Tampa back then. Scott, I have no business going up there.
God, I'd forgotten about that series.
I don't have the tires, And he's like, yeah, come on up there. So Eddie and I went up there, parked right next to Scott. And we had, D55s.
Yeah.
And they all had open tires. They had like 2s, 3s, 10s.
Oh, God.
So Scott says, here, bolt these on. Gave us the whole tire and wheel.
Really?
And bolt them on and run them. Well, it would get a heat cycle for him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he let us put the whole wheel and tire on.
Nice.
We'd run it, take them off, and then by that time, heat race, you need something a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
He'd say, bolt these on.
Nice.
So that I did race with them back then.
Was it fun?
Oh yeah, it's just you're like, that's Scott Bloomquist right there.
We got Scott's tires.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was definitely cool.
Yeah, you go to them big shows and you get somebody like that to help. Good story I got was I went with Tim Echevarria to Greenville, Texas, a little quarter mile, and it was a 3-day show, and it was during the day, and that place rubbered up, and Tim went through every single tire they had in the trailer and had no more, and went over to Wayne Brooks's trailer and asked if he had any tires he wanted to sell, and he went through the rack and said, yeah, because Tim had made the feature, we didn't have nothing. He says, put these on, they'll go 50 laps. And they didn't have hardly any tread on them at all. They were like,
that's what you want. That's what you want.
Yeah, he said, I could probably use one more heat cycle on these, but they'll make it. So we put them on, and they look just like they did when we put them on after the race.
Really?
Yeah, but...
So funny story. I just heard a deal today. You guys watch Coffee with Kenny Wallace?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He's a hoot.
he is a hoot. Well, he
He's a
had
nut.
Larry Shaw on there
Okay.
talking about Scott winning the 100,000 modified race at Batesville.
Okay.
And Scott, before the feature that day or something, this is Larry Shaw telling the story, the guy from last night that was really fast, Scott said, I'll give you a brand new set of tires for those ones right there. And the guy said, you're great, but yeah, so he did. Scott ground on them and got them shaved down. And Larry Shaw said, I said, Scott, what are you doing? Those are not going to make it. He said, just trust me. and he won the race.
He knew what he was doing.
Knew what he's doing. But yeah.
Was he really particular with his tires?
Uh-huh.
I mean, he spent a lot of time on tires. Yeah.
Scott, believe it or not, did every bit of his tire work on
He
those.
did it himself. Wow.
Between races, he would go back there and grind his tires.
Wow.
He would groove them, he'd sipe them. And honestly, and Scott knew this, we told him, Scott, you've got to let that go to somebody
Get a
because
tire guy,
you
yeah.
need to be concentrating on your car and some other things. Well, because he's so busy doing his tires. He didn't trust anybody with his tires.
Really? Wow.
So, yeah, he did.
Wow.
He
Big deal.
was a hard worker, that's for sure.
Huh.
Yep. Crazy.
Got a couple new people on. Ashley Montgomery's watching, and Chad Berger.
Hey,
on,
Chad.
so
How are you?
Thanks, guys. For those of
Did you read
that?
that Rick Rogers message?
I did not.
I got it.
Yeah, Austin.
You got it?
Sure enjoy seeing Austin out racing with Chris. Never a worry when Austin is on the track with him. Been good to get him a little bit better this year. See, people are learning from you still.
well, I try not to drive, I try to drive people like I want them to race me, race them like you want them to race me. So that's nice. I like Rick and Austin. They've been coming to Wichita and racing,
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, I think they have an IMCA car too, though, right?
Well, they did have it. They wrecked it, or wrecked the good USRA car, and then had to
Okay, so they
switch
took
the
that one
IMCA
to
car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That was
Yeah.
an unfortunate deal.
yeah, so that was a bad deal.
Yeah.
Were you with Scott at the Dome that first year when he won?
I believe so.
Were you helping?
Yeah.
That had to have been a big deal with all that many people there and inside.
I don't know if you guys have been to that, but it's
I haven't missed one. I've been to all of
to
them.
me it's a
It's pretty
it's a
crazy,
bucket
isn't it?
list deal. Yeah, the crowd
Oh,
is crazy.
last year was nuts because they never before have they ever opened up that top deck, and
Correct.
last year it was almost full up there. It's nuts.
So the last body I have of Scott's, I got the whole side, the side of the fender, the door, the quarter, and the spoiler side,
the right side?
the left side.
Oh, I was going to say there probably
The
wasn't
left
much
side.
left on the right side.
And it was from the Dome, the last time he raced the Dome.
Cool.
I have it at home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a fun time.
his famous crotch chop, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And, some of those, I'm sure you guys have watched them, the interviews at Eldora. My favorite's when he said, when they put me to the tail, the show was over. He said, well, that would have been entertaining. He said, I would have lapped the field. That's what would have happened.
I think it was it Devin Moran that won here just last weekend that got up and did the crotch chop just right after that all happened. He did it for Scott. Yeah.
Yep. My buddy Gustin, he won that. Where were they? Last weekend, Saturday night, Ohio.
World Outlaw Show.
Yes.
Okay.
And he got out and did the Scott's deal and pointed to the sky.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Another funny story I got. We were at the Show Me 100, and this is probably two years ago.
I have a chance to go to that next year.
You should go.
Think I should go?
Oh gosh, yeah. Another bucket list.
Okay.
place. I mean, the facility is just amazing.
Sure.
And so we're qualified for the A, and I had drove my truck over there, and we're, they're running some consies and stuff. Scott gets out of the car. He goes, "Chris, I'm hungry." I was like, "Well, okay." I was like, "Well, let's take your truck down to Casey's." Casey's is like probably a half mile, out the gate to the left. So he's in his fire suit. We just get in the truck, drive to Casey's. He walks in there in his fire suit, orders a sandwich. We gets the sandwich, gets back in the pickup. Away we go back to the racetrack. I mean, he didn't care.
He didn't care.
He didn't care. People are like, "That's Scott. What is he doing?"
I'll be back.
Yeah. I got a lot of some stories I can't tell on the air, but I got a lot of good ones. A lot of good ones.
What's your favorite?
Well, probably the time when we were at the strip club and we were at Texas Motor Speedway, and then he decided we'd go to the VP Fuel guy was there, and he wanted to take us to the strip club. So Scott and I had a hotel not too far from the racetrack, across the road or whatever. Well, this strip club's 45 minutes. We go to the strip club, we come back, he dropped us off at the rig, and my truck was there, so we got my truck. Well, at the strip bar, Scott was rubbing on this pretty little black girl. And when he gets in my truck, we go to Whataburger, and he orders a Whata double. We go back to the hotel, and I'm about to fall asleep. He's like, "You know what, Chris?" I was like, "What?" "I should have brought that girl home with me." I said, "For a month or two." I was like, "What for?" He goes, "Improve my reputation." And I just started laughing. I mean, it's like only Scott. Only Scott.
Who was his crew?
Well, he had probably the best one, or when he won a lot of races with Cody Mallory.
Okay.
He was really good.
Did his dad help him?
No, his dad wasn't much into it.
Okay.
But if you ever met Scott's dad, his name's Ron, you'll know kind of the mold Scott came from. Very smart. He was an airline pilot for years, and he's building these World War I replica planes from scratch.
Wow.
He has a hangar over there and a shop, and just very smart.
Wow.
And this plane had no designs, and it's unbelievable what he can do. He just built it from nothing. That's unbelievable. But you go into that shop of Scott's, and you see Globe trophies from the World, Dream trophies, fire suits lined up. I got to show you his bolt bin. You would really get a kick out of his bolt bin, because I know you're in that business.
I am.
You probably know. Hell, it might be.
Mars, Kimball.
Might be.
What color?
Orange or red? The bin is.
It wouldn't be mine.
But it's huge.
Is it huge?
But it's just like a museum, like a museum. So.
Was he real particular about his shop? Was it always clean?
Yes and no. It would get, everybody was going
cluttered,
working hard and thrashing.
Yeah.
But then he would stop, and just clean the whole thing. So yeah, it's a very nice shop, big, and he might wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning and get his go-kart out and start racing around the shop. I mean, he called me one time. I was like, "What are you doing, Scott?" "Well, I've been running my go-kart. I just set quick time here at the shop."
Well, I've seen a video of him on a little one of those.
Oh yeah, little scooter
little
thing.
Kids, things that spin around. He was flying around in there.
A real go-kart. He would run around there, but he would, and a lot of people don't see the side of him that he was a very good father to Ariel.
Really?
Mike Marler tells a story where he was out visiting with Scott. 10 o'clock, Scott's like, "Hang on, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to put my daughter to bed." And went in, put his daughter to bed. And I actually had a ride for Scott at a modified in May from Joe Duvall set up. He was going to pay him, to come race his car at a Heartland race. And Scott says, any other weekend I do it, but it's my daughter's graduation.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I don't care how much money you pay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just can't do
Nope.
it. So
That
you know,
all
people didn't
comes
see that side.
People
of
didn't
it
see
a
that
lot.
side of it.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't. No.
Well, you know, you're pretty worldly yourself, Chris. I mean, how did you develop the relationship with Barry Wright?
Well, that's a pretty good story. I was going to see Larry McDaniels. I was dating a girl in Atlanta, and I was going
In Atlanta. You know, you
Atlanta.
live in Salem,
I know.
or Wichita, right?
It was actually Larry's niece. So I was going from there to Larry. It's like 4 or 5 hours, and he knew I was looking for a new car because I had that GRT at Delbert. He said, if I were you, I'd stop by Barry Wright's. You're going to drive right by there. It's a half mile off the exit. So I did. I walked in there, and the guy was just as nice as could be, and I just talked to you like, you know, just us talking, just nicest guy in the world. And when I left there, I called Larry. I said, next car I have would be a Barry Wright. I mean, just because the help, you know, you get some of the other, you know, not call out names, but maybe the rocket people who are just, they're not going to talk to you or me if we go up there, you know, but not Barry. He's very, very cool guy. So I think it's important in any kind of racing. What's the help you can get with what you got, don't you?
Yeah. You
The
need
support.
to. The last one I was in was a Masters build, and I got to talk to Tater Masters a couple times.
There you go.
I mean, you can at least talk to the guy, you know. Joe
Yes.
and I shouldn't throw out names, but there are some out there that got to the point where they just didn't want to talk to guys like us.
Now there's so many guys that you have to like buy into their program
Yeah.
to get any information from them. And,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's just getting crazier
yep.
every year.
Yep.
Yeah.
You drive a used car with your modified. How is?
I like it. I love Jason. Jason's boy Trevor's now getting into racing pretty big, and I tell everybody, Jason's kind of like, reminds me of a military sergeant. It's black or white. There's
Black
no
or white his way, and that's
there's
the way
no
it is.
gray in between.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell you like it is, whether you want to hear it or not. If you suck, he's going to tell you.
He'll gonna tell you suck.
Yeah, you got to drive that thing harder.
That's my buddy Bobby. He'll tell you when you suck.
But
What was that?
Yeah, what were you doing? Yeah. But you know, that's okay. I'd rather him not sugarcoat it. And bullshit. Ryan Gusson does the same thing to me. He's like, you got to drive that thing in harder. You know, like, well, I don't want to run over the fence. You know?
I want to keep this thing in the park.
Right. So yeah, you just get used to it, I guess. Yeah, it's a good time, though.
So, if you could have had one of Bloomquist's cars, would you have drove it?
Absolutely. Those things have so much traction in them. It's unbelievable. They really do. Now, Scott, now somebody like me, he would help all the time, but there's some guys that would buy him and get disappointed because he wouldn't maybe give him all his secrets or help him as much. But Scott, I've heard Scott tell people, I'll sell you a car and I'll help you, but I'm not here to babysit you.
Yeah.
You know,
Some of it's on you.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So he was kind of harsh at times, but you kind of got to be a businessman like that.
It's probably why he was successful at it. Is, people respected him for.
Yeah.
He was known for his damn haulers too. Those things were huge.
Yeah, some nice stuff.
Yeah, he
I
did
can see
always.
why you got one stuck in the trees.
So the one I got stuck in the trees actually belonged to Ed Petroff. So that, at least that was Ed's truck. But yeah, it was a bad deal. Bad deal.
That would have been Ed from Petroff Trucking. Of
Yes,
course.
Ed Petroff. Yeah. Yep. Oh goodness, I could. There's so many. Too many. We go to I-80, and we might go to the casino. We'd always find a ride. Anybody would, Scott Bloomquist asked you for, you got a vehicle I can borrow? Yeah, I mean, we had the flagman bringing us his keys, So we always had a vehicle. So we'd drive over to the casino, and we might stay till 5 or 6 in the morning. We might come back, and he'd say, let's play poker. I got a video of us out there outside the holler playing poker. Sun's coming up. You know, and
Wow.
of course Scott liked his crown royal.
Yeah, I'd heard that about him.
Oh goodness. He showed me a pretty neat deal. You know, if you go to a casino, they usually stop serving liquor about 1:30. Here, like around here in Las Vegas, obviously not. So I said, well, no more alcohol. He goes, oh, don't worry about that. And I said, okay. So he goes, go get us a couple Cokes at the soda machine. So I did. Well, he pulls out this water bottle with Crown in it. He goes, I said, what is that? He said, that's my ghetto flask. So he'd take a water bottle and he'd crumple it up, fill it about half full of Crown, stuck it in his pocket.
Put it in his pocket.
That was his ghetto flask.
Somebody did do a tribute to Scott with the Crown Royal shot.
I did. I know a lot of people did.
Yeah.
I did on my
On your page?
it was on my Snapchat.
Okay. Maybe
But
that
yeah.
was you.
But a lot of people did. And so this deal that's coming up for him in Eldora, they're going to have the celebration of life. And I bet you won't get Crown Royal within 100 miles of that place because it'll
probably
be
not.
sold out.
Yep, I'll bet so.
So it's going to be a pretty neat deal. Looking forward to that. Yeah, it's just a devastating.
It's
tough.
awful. It wasn't.
Did you guys hear the James Essex intro to the Topless?
No.
No, I missed it.
He couldn't. He
missed
was
the
just
beginning
bawling.
of it.
He was just bawling.
Really? Wow.
He couldn't keep it together.
Yeah. Huh.
It was Jonathan Davenport. They interviewed him. He couldn't. It's amazing to me. You went through Facebook probably that next day, and every post,
everybody.
Yep.
and
There was a lot.
it's all the stories.
I had to go do research when I first saw it, like I said earlier in the show, because I didn't believe it.
I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
It was tough.
And then after I found out and found out how, I didn't want to know that either.
Yeah.
So
it was
awful.
devastating. It was devastating.
yes, he will be missed. That's for no doubt. There ain't nobody else like him. That's for damn sure.
No. No, he did things God's way, and he didn't care.
Where did he come up with that number on the side of his car? You know that?
Here's another good story. Glad you brought that up. He used to be 18,
Yep.
Yep.
and then he switched to 0.
Yep.
Okay.
I asked him, why did you switch to 0? He said, well, I went to China to see Action, I think it's Action Diecast that made the replicas of his car, the diecast.
Right.
And he went to China and was in a meeting with a guy, the Chinese guy, very, very smart, very wealthy. And he said, number 18, why? And that's my number. He goes, should be 0. And he's got like, why is that? 0 never ends. Infinity never ends.
Over there.
Said Scott got thinking about that, and of course Scott's like talking about the energy and of these things and stuff. And
Hi guys, how are you?
he said I got to think and put a lot of thought into that, and I think he was right. So he changed it, and he goes, but I put 18 on there just in case he was wrong.
I was going to say.
Because he had two 18s
A little in the middle of it.
on the
on the corners.
yes.
On the X's,
sides.
Yes.
or the whatever that was.
So he had this
That's right.
thing here and the 0, and they were right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how he changed the number 0.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you think about it, it's right. I mean,
Eternal, or the China guy. He was.
Yeah.
Scott could tell a lot better than I could. But it's a good story. But when he said, I still put on 18 in there just in case he was wrong. Yeah.
Hey, we had a couple more people get on. Dennis Berry got on. Pete Beaumont, Justin Sly, Terry Money, and our buddy Jeff Crawl's watching. So, thank you guys. We are joined here with Chris Kratzer. Got him up to tell some Scott Bloomquist stories, and he's got
Plenty
some
to
good
tell.
ones.
Plenty
Yep,
to tell.
got some good ones.
I don't think there's anybody else out there that could really outwheel him.
No, I know there's nobody could outthink him or out ingenuity. You know,
Yeah, he was pretty innovative in his thinking.
he was, and he wouldn't bolt anything on his car that he didn't take apart 3 times to figure out what it was and how to put it back together. Of course, his partnership with Randy Sweet was real big in his career. Randy Sweet, very, very smart guy. But yeah, he could build it on his own and do it all. And I think that's what made him kind of who he was, because he didn't just go buy a chassis. He built it.
Nope.
What made him the tough competitor that he was? What do you think? His knowledge,
I think it's his knowledge, his work ethic, and his dedication. He would tell me he'd work on his race car. He might fall asleep at 4 in the morning underneath there doing something. He said, I would wake up with a thought, and I would build it, put it on the car until it was done.
Wow.
But that's all he thought about. I would call him and say, Scott, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just here sweeping spindles. I'm like, who sweeps spindles? I don't. But that's what he was doing. So yeah, I think that's what made him the competitor.
It had to be, all through his years, it had to be really tough there toward the end when he got sick and, wasn't able to race. He went through the surgeries and stuff and he wasn't able to race. That had to have been.
That was hard on him.
Been hard.
Financially. But another thing, he was kind of the innovator in the T-shirt and fanwear stuff. He made a lot of money just on his merchandise.
Apparel, yeah, I'm sure.
Apparel, that's what it was.
yeah, merchandise.
Merchandise, yeah, a lot of, yeah. It was. He was an amazing guy. Amazing guy.
Surely somebody will keep on making.
I think Gotta Race will, and then Ariel hopefully will get,
How old is she now?
18. She just graduated high school in May.
Is he still married?
Huh?
Was he still married?
Scott?
Yeah.
No, he was
That's right.
divorced from Katrina. They've been separated for about 6 years.
That's right.
Yeah. But it was devastating, really tough to get through. But again, we all got a lot of. Thank goodness for social media now. We got a lot of memories, and people can go watch and we can see. And
that's the good side of social media.
That's the good side.
I hate the after the races side of social media.
Yeah.
That can get a little.
That gets hairy, doesn't it?
It does get hairy, unfortunately. It's tough on the racetracks too.
Very, very,
very tough on the racetracks.
I'm not bashing you, but
Yeah.
It's tough.
what do you want to do next? You, race-wise. You walk by the Barry Wright car and pet it?
I'd like to get back in the late model, to be honest with you. I just feel more comfortable in them. When
you've driven one of those almost all your life.
And I think if I would have went from what I was started with to a modified and then to a late model,
it'd be different.
Yes, and you pick up habits in the late model that
can't use in the modified.
Yeah. So that's probably what we'll look at doing is getting that late model back together.
You got to wait for the engine to show up.
Got to wait on that. If not, we'll just do. I'll put a modified engine in it. I mean, I think with this. What is there, like 3 series?
There's
now?
3 series around
High
the area
Plains,
now.
Rev,
there's High Plains. There's
Colorado series.
Yeah.
There's the Sooner series.
Sooner series.
Then there's one in Missouri.
Revival.
Yeah, that one.
They're coming back. You know how late models are. It seems like they kind of disappear for a while and then come back. At least in our part of the world.
They're all button heads with rules, I think.
Yeah.
Got to get together and get those rules figured out.
That's right. Because this used to be like late model
heaven right here.
Yeah.
I remember back in was it Mark or Donnie Brown had the KLMA?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean that was huge.
KOLMA, yeah.
Yeah, Kansas Outlaw.
Yeah. I did the topless thing for a while, but
Did you like topless stuff?
I I didn't care for it. I didn't think they looked as cool without the top.
No, they
look
don't.
weird.
They
Yeah.
don't.
They look weird.
So that part of it I didn't, but it was something different, I guess.
And then our buddy Lonnie had the topless series for a while. Late models were the ticket around here.
They were in NCRA days.
Oh my God.
But I'm hoping that, again, everything seems to kind of evolve and come back.
Do you like the fairgrounds track?
I always have liked the fairgrounds. I really have. But I won my first late model race at the fairgrounds.
Did you?
I drove Delbert Smith's car
Really?
one time and won. I think that was in '95.
I hated that place for the longest time.
Did you?
I did.
What didn't you like about it?
I think I was intimidated by the wall, to be honest. And it was flatter than most.
Yeah.
But once I got the hook, once
yeah.
I got the hang of it, it wasn't so bad.
No.
It was actually fun.
Yeah. I do like Hutchinson and.
What's your favorite track for you?
Well, honestly, probably Salina was one of them. Like I said, I won my first feature there. Won a lot of them in the crate up here.
I've always
Wichita.
thought if you could do well at Salina, you could do well just about everywhere else. Really.
Yeah.
Salina's got some pretty, I wouldn't call them long straightaways, but they are. And the corners they're not tight.
They're two
but
different
they're not big
corners.
sweep. They're two different corners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's correct. Yeah. And I don't know that I've raced on it. Didn't they kind of cut the banking out of 1 and 2? Because you could really go up there real high and just
make a diamond out of it.
Yeah, we took that out. It's not there no more.
Yeah, so I don't know how that races, but the other 3 and 4 was always pretty much on the bottom.
Well, not anymore.
That's good.
The top side's been the fastest all year.
That's good.
Yeah.
But
summertime at Salina, 3 and 4 would always slick off.
Yeah.
In the old days, because I'm an old man, but 3 and 4 would always slick off before 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And you had to better be ready for it. And you're right, 2 different corners.
And 1 and 2 had that bigger kind of a progressive banking, and with that hump down there, you could just drive her in there.
Bank off of that.
Bank off of that and send it down send it across 2 and off.
Make it a real long straightaway.
Yeah.
You still can, but you just got to be a little careful.
Well, that'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see. That'll be interesting to see how that
Most embarrassing moment in a late model for you? Something you did that you really thought you screwed up?
Oh gosh, where do I start?
That's your tough
You ever had
question.
like the steering wheel come off?
Yeah.
You ever lose a tire?
Done that. Lost a tire.
Where at?
81 Speedway. I've lost a shock twice. Well,
how do you put your shocks on? Pins or bolts?
Bolts.
Same here.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get the nut on the bolt on the thread.
I'm not a big pin guy.
No. Yeah. Yep. Bolts. Gosh. There's a lot of them. I think I, probably spun out in front of the field before. I've probably done it all. But
what's your favorite win?
I'd say my first one at Salina, that first NCRA show, probably that
was
or
a
the
tough
Nationals.
crowd to race with.
That's why I was. Yeah, that was.
There weren't no slouches in that.
That's why it was probably my favorite.
Have you gotten a win in a modified yet?
I have not.
No.
How, Bobby?
I haven't.
No,
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's tough.
It's hard.
And the USMTS guys and the USRA guys, they're tough.
They're tough.
Well,
and I mean, the IMCA guys ain't slacking either, but I mean...
you got a lot of laps around Salina. They're going to be bringing in some new guys. Maybe you'll have a little advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Salina is definitely... But again, it's going to be like a USMTS show. I mean, you're going to, like I said, you have Tyler Wolf, Chad Wheeler, the last one we went to, Rodney Sanders was there, and Jason Hughes, and I'm sure you're going to get some of that. This
because there is no USMTS races.
Correct. So you're going to have.
You're going to be running Salina and Wichita. So
that's right. I mean, you'll have Tyler Davis. You'll have a lot of good cars.
I think Tanner.
Tanner probably run. Yeah, it's gonna be. It's not gonna be easy.
Should be a good show.
It'll be a real good show. I'm telling you,
Be
people.
good to see you come race up here again.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm telling you, if these people want to see a good race, that's the one to go to. It's going to be a show. It's going to be a show. I promise you. It'll be good. I don't know how long it's been since the USMTS has been here, but it's been.
I know Tommy had him when he first started, and he had the track for 13 years.
I came with Guston one time, but that's been at least 10 years now.
Oh yeah, at least 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I think it'll be a heck of a show, and yeah, I think it'll be great. Be great for the fans too. I think to see
something different.
Yeah,
Yep.
because they kind of run a similar program, don't they? Every
just the 5.
Yeah.
They don't have many incoming series, right?
Nope, didn't have.
Yeah,
any
so I think
specials.
this will be a big deal. I think it'll be good. I do. And I hear Chuck's done a very good job with the racetrack. I haven't been up there since he's taken it over. I know Matt Stam. He's a customer of mine at my tire store.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's really.
You'll notice. I think you'll notice the difference. We built a little beer garden area.
Oh, really?
In the concession stand area.
Okay.
And yeah, we got picnic tables and we got tents to sit under. And
Well, that's always kind of been the party end, anyways. Down there 1 and 2.
Yeah.
it still is.
Yeah.
It's back like that again.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I left there at 4:30 in the morning one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Chuck said that he's got the dirt that's been on top of it off and down to the clay again.
Yeah, he went and scraped all that off and got back to the
clay.
good dirt again. And
Really?
he's been doing a good job with it.
Oh, Salina is always kind of known for its good clay.
Mm-hmm. It may be back.
That'll be good. That's good. That'll be good racing.
How's business? How's Wichita Tire and Alignment?
Yeah. We've been really good. Been really busy. Staying really busy. I've taken on another little adventure. I don't know if you noticed, but I took on. I started a YouTube channel.
Oh God!
And it's
you need to get me hooked up on that before you leave.
It's at Slot King Chris, and I video. So I've been watching this guy named Vegas Matt, and I just started videoing like playing slot machines.
Okay.
And it's been going really good.
Good.
And I really enjoy it. I love it. So yeah, I've been doing that, so that keeps me busy too. So yeah, but the racing is just, I think it's in all our bloods. We've all been around it all our lives.
It's hard to get out of it, you know?
It really is,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember coming as a kid when your dad and my dad raced, and it's just, it's addicting.
Very.
It's addicting.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've been having fun this summer. I've kind of on the other end of the deal now, as far as not working on cars anymore. I'm working at the racetrack. And
what are you doing at the racetrack?
Just
wherever they need.
Mowing, fixing fence.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were like on the receiver or something, talking to the drivers.
No, I do the interview. Well, that's why I want you to win there, because I do the interviews in Victory Lane.
Awesome.
So unless they bring Andy, and we need to. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Chuck and we need to get a hold there and see if Andy Clark's coming with them, and we got to get all that figured out yet. But so no, that's kind of what I'm doing.
I did that. I've done that twice at 81 this year.
I've watched it.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's fun.
It is fun.
Especially you get them guys with their first win.
Oh,
and,
gosh.
that's pretty awesome to see somebody pick up their first win.
Or get the one like I had when they had the brawl on the stage.
Really?
Fight. I mean, a full-on brawl started to break out right there in the winner's circle. So
yeah,
must not like the way somebody passed them.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so I got a question for you. Ever been angry in your car? Hit somebody on purpose? Ever?
Yeah.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
It happens, doesn't it?
It does. It's I mean, and not just like blasting them under yellow or anything, but you know, again, like we talked about, you kind of race people like they race you, because if you don't,
They'll do it every time.
They'll take advantage of you.
Yep, they'll do it every time.
So you gotta kind of
Pay them back. Yep.
Well, you just got to kind of, how do I say it? You got to hold your ground.
You got to hold your ground. And I mean, if they, you know, door you going down the straightaway, and then you might just
Then it's
return the
game
favor.
on. It's game on.
Yeah. So yeah.
And then, I mean, it's hard because sometimes you tear up your own equipment.
It is.
But there's
again,
a lot of emotion in behind the wheel, isn't there?
There is.
Adrenaline and emotion.
Yeah, and you know, you're the same way as me. I work on my stuff all week, and if I'll probably give you a spot if you're just gonna just run right over me. So, but I just feel like a lot of these people, I guess, don't work on their own stuff.
Yeah.
They wouldn't drive like
Oh
that.
yeah, you have them.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's respect, and it's a lot of time.
We've
and
lost
money.
the respect.
It's a lot of money too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've been at somebody. I had a guy getting anxious on the start here a couple weeks ago, bent my rear bumper down. They're like $60-$80, you know,
Yeah.
and you're like, for what?
Well, you can't win it on that lap, can you?
No. In fact, I've always learned, instead of being on their bumper, you hang back and kind of anticipate the start.
Yeah.
Then you give yourself some room.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
Well, listen, any other Scott stories you want to tell us? I'm sure there's a lot.
There's a
He's
lot.
going to be missed. You know what I
He
mean?
is.
The racing world lost a legend.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
A giant of a man, but a legend.
Yeah. I've got so many of them. What was the time? He said, we were at the Dome, and we went, what's that country star that sings at the racetracks? I can't think of his name, but anyway, we went to this club with him. Scott and I did, and Scott and I were sitting. There's a real big club downtown St. Louis, you know, country kind of bar. Well, we were playing beer pong across from each other, and this one kid, I knew him. Scott didn't know him, and he was, you know, like a fan, but he was like drunk, and he was taking Scott's ping pong balls and messing with him, you know, just messing with him. And about the third time he did it, Scott just took a cup of beer and just went, just drenched him, and just didn't miss a beat, you know. And that kid was like, I mean,
that'd be something for him to remember, Scott.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's
He's
right.
going to forget that, is he?
Yeah. So yeah, he was something else. He's just a heck of a guy, and you know, he meant a lot to me. He did a lot for me. Taught me a lot. Had a lot of good memories with him. A lot of good times.
Could you, when you were racing, could you call him? Would he give you information?
Absolutely.
Do he really?
Yeah, absolutely. If I got a hold of him, you know, sometimes he's pretty busy.
Oh yeah.
And Scott's time frame's a little different than ours. He started his day about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and worked all night.
Really?
Yeah. So his time. So one time I'll never forget. I called him. I had been drinking, left a casino with some friends, and I called him about 4 o'clock in the morning. He goes, "A little late, isn't it?" When he picked up the phone, and I was like, "Actually, it's a little early for you. A little late for me, but not for you." So then, the funny thing is, 2 weeks later, he calls me like 9:30 in the morning. I was like, "A little early, isn't it?" Well, I knew he wouldn't normally be up that hour. You know, I was like, "What are you doing up so early?" But no, he was just a great guy. Just good. Had a good time. Tyler Davis is watching.
Thanks for tuning in, Tyler.
So yeah, it was fun.
Good.
it's good times. Got a lot of good memories. I can never forget it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, shall we wrap this up? We've been at it a while.
Been at it a while. You've been a great guest. Thanks,
Exactly.
Chris.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I enjoy coming up, and I enjoy sharing because a lot of people don't know some of those stories.
Everybody
No, I
thought,
know.
a lot of
These are
people
like-
thought Scott was not approachable,
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
but he was just intense.
He was intense, and again, the kids, like, he had a soft spot for kids.
Yep.
Now the kids could come up during the races,
Then he talked to him.
and he would sign whatever. Well, he'd stop what he was doing.
Really.
He loved the kids. Very good with kids. Very good father to his daughter. But yes, you're right. But he was an intimidating figure. I mean, if you just when I first met him,
Yeah.
I was intimidated.
You was
I didn't want
How
to.
tall was he? Do
I
you
ain't
remember?
gonna go over there.
What do you think?
At least 6'3", 6'4".
How in the hell did he get into a late model chassis?
I don't know if you ever saw his seats, but they weren't much of a seat. But
Really?
Another quick story. We went through Tech at where were we? I think we were at the Show Me 100. Steve Francis was the series director for Lucas Oil.
Okay.
We went through Tech, and he had about this whole thing with stuff that was wrong that we had to fix. And he said, and don't bring that seat back. Because he had it all chopped off. He didn't run it, he had a deal over here and a round thing behind him.
Yeah, I remember that.
All taped up, and but the body was skewed too much, and that's just Scott, though.
Yep.
Trying to get away with whatever he could. And I looked at that list, I was like, we'll never get all this done, Scott. And he's like, we ain't gonna worry about it. They won't say nothing after we start racing. It was good times.
He was, in my eyes, he was the one that was famous for his wheelbase stuff.
Wheelbase, he was famous for a lot of trick suspension stuff.
Trick stuff, yeah.
He was ahead of his time. He had a chassis called Airplane. Some of the chassis was made out of airplane tubing or something, but it was shaved. And he said, you can't bend airplane tube. It's just unbelievable. Some of the things he came up with. It is unbelievable. But good stuff.
Well, Chris, thanks so much for being our guest tonight. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah,
We're
thank you.
sorry.
Yeah,
We're sorry for the loss of your friend.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
okay. I appreciate it. I enjoyed talking about, again, sharing some stories for people that can,
Glad we
get
got
to
to do this.
Yeah.
You got some people you want to thank that help out your racing program?
Yeah. Of course, Wichita Tire and Alignment, Hughes Racing Chassis, Bill Chu Incorporated, Napa Auto Parts, been a big sponsor to me here
Chu's
lately.
been with you since you started.
Yep.
Okay.
Crone Quarter Horses. Napa's been really good to me here lately. I'm really glad to have them on board. Couldn't do without all of them.
Good. Good.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Chu's been on the side of your cars forever.
Yeah. That's my uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had. Yes. Yep.
Real quick, we had a couple more people get on there toward the end. Mike Packard.
Yeah, good to see Mike.
Nicholas Ronnebaum, congratulations on your championship at Concordia, Nick. Tyler Heath and Bobby Arnold got on there toward the end. You got any new people that came on yours?
Good.
Tyler.
If
Tyler Davis is still watching, look forward to seeing him in a couple of weeks. So thanks, Tyler.
Yeah.
And we're gonna wrap this up.
We better be
We got the Super Nationals coming up here next week.
Starts this weekend, doesn't it?
Prelude is Saturday, Sunday, and then everything starts Monday. So got that going on. We're racing Friday night at Salina. Hopefully we're going to get the Barry Brittendahl Memorial race in this week, if Mother Nature allows.
Hey, it's supposed to be a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a lot cooler.
So everybody make it out for that. Other than that, back in a couple weeks.
You want to thank the sponsors one last
Probably
time?
better.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
I'll let you go first.
I get to go first.
Yeah.
Kansas Auto Racing Museum, located there in Chapman. Pretty cool place to visit, Salina Speedway. You can come out, check out the races every Friday night. I think we got 4 more shows to finish out the year. Of course, being Dean Productions, Dean does a great job for us. And District Eat and Play.
This place is awesome.
Come play.
This is a neat
out.
place.
It is.
It's big.
It is big.
Yep. What you got?
Belleville High Banks Hall of Fame and National Midget Auto Racing Museum. Summer hours Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 5. Location, the actual address, 1204 H Street, Belleville, Kansas. Highway 81 until you see the signs right there on the east side of the highway. Entries by free will donation. They are the local authorized Nance Race Road dealer. J. Neal, BSB Manufacturing, 20 North Industrial Drive, Wellington, Kansas, 620-326-3152. Give Jay a call. If you want to go fast, he's got the most complete, up-to-date package available. Hilljob Graphics, 785-822-4536. Signs and banners, demo number 6924 East Highway K4. He doesn't mind if you stop by. You'll see a great big sign right out in front of his shop. Excuse me. Concordia Raceway, 615 Industrial Road, Concordia. Quarter-mile egg-shaped dirt track. We like to call it a great American short track. East side of the fairgrounds. Bill Gritz, Kimball Midwest. For all your maintenance, repair, and operation needs, trust me, I can get you taken care of. I've got probably one of the best penetrating oils on the market.
Oh, wow.
What do you got?
Oh, as I said, he's still got that old car. That's that
Wow.
Barry Ryan.
Huh.
Cool. Chris, you've been a great guest tonight.
Yep.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Chris.
For Bobby Potts, Chris Caster, also for Dean Klenda, Mean Dean Productions, Bill Gritz, and so long. Hey, I got you down. Next show is the 11th of September, so see you right here, District Eden Play.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Good night. There.